shadow and Muhammadan Rasul Allah. Shadow and Muhammadan Rasul Allah. Hayul How you live for How you live for Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وأشهد أنه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه الله اليقين. من سورة البينة Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the attributes of the people that He is pleased with them. And at the same time, they are also pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a mutual relationship. Allah is happy with them and they are happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who are those people? What kind of attribute they got? Can we be among them? Can we try to at least be among them? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the description. Who are those people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. The people that they believe and they interpret their belief to a good deed, they are the best people in the face of the planet Earth. جزاؤهم عند ربهم. The reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow upon them. تجعل جنات عدن. A place, one of the Jannah, it's called Adn. The name of one of the Jannahs, it's called Adn. تجري من تحتها الأنهار. Rivers will flow from under them. خالدين فيها. They will have the eternal life فيها. Allah is pleased with them. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. ذلك لمن خشي ربه. خشي ربه. ذلك لمن خشي ربه. Inshallah, the word خشية, خشي Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's a subject of our entire khutbah. But that's not the place for it today. What is the being رضية? Why it was one of the things that if you really want to understand, there are 8 major keys that you need to have and to hold to understand, at least have a better understanding of the Holy Quran. I'm not going to say to interpret the Holy Quran, but I'm going to say to have a better understanding. There are 8 keys. One of those keys, and that's one of the major players in this case, is to understand what does the word mean and what does the word within the sentence mean. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here used the word radiyallahu anhum. He did not say Allah he said Allah is satisfied with them. He did not say Allah happy with them. He said satisfied. So what did the word satisfy mean? The satisfy means totally accept. Sometimes you accept, you pass. If in any given exam, if you give a 50% or 60%, you pass. You can say you are good or bad, you're going to say good. But that doesn't mean satisfaction. Satisfaction, that means what? Excellent. And the criteria of excellent. So we are here talking about the criteria of excellent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with them. And they are accepting, radiallahu anhu, as long as it is acceptance. We now know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala totally accepted them. But how they radu an, and they accepted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What kind of acceptance? That means what? Their mind and their heart and their soul in the state of consistency. They all happy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They all in the state of accepting whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon them, happy with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them. Sometimes in issues, your mind can be happy, but your heart not necessarily happy. Or your heart is happy, but your mind is not necessarily happy. Right? But if you have all of them happy, that is called rida. That means everything in a state of consistency. What are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acceptance? And that's very easy for you to measure. Inshallah, I will try to talk about what are the signs of that you accepted from Allah, and what are the signs that you accepted Allah in your life. The first that comes, حب الناس. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah At-Tawbah, وَالْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيَأْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ اللهم اجعلنا منهم يا رب العالمين. So the حب الناس هو حب الولاية. I can love because the word love, it can be used in so many things, but the love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning here is حب الولاية. حب الولاية, that means what? أولياء بعض. That means they look after each other. What they want from each other? Nothing. Sometimes you love somebody because there is some kind of a benefit coming out of it. But in this case, no. They are looking after each other because they like in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala each other. But how you know those people? They promote good and fight evil to each other. And they accept it from each other. One of the dilemma we have as a human being, sometimes we accept promoting good. It's okay. But fighting evil, that's a big story. Look at it carefully. If you look at the whole entire history of the mankind, what are the most abusive people that they got abused in the history of the mankind? They are the prophet of the messengers. What they have in common? Fighting evil. Fighting evil is the dilemma. Some they can do good and they can be okay with it. But fighting evil is the big one. How many of us willing to accept somebody come and say and give you a gift, it call your own errors or your own mistakes? Not much. And that's the dilemma of the whole entire history. And all the prophets and the messengers. When they start to point out for what is the evil, that's where the fight starts. Some of them, they paid very heavy price to the point of even their own life because of fighting evil. So the first thing here is حب الناس. Sometimes you hear about people, all you know about them is their names. But you know they passed away or something like that, and you say, may Allah bless them. Do you know them? Are they your relatives? No. You know, like you hear about with scholars or something like that, and you mention them with good tidings. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that in your heart and for the people's heart. And also in the verses too, there are some other people, you don't care too much about them if anything happened to them. But as they are on the opposite side. The second thing, another sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acceptance to you, Al-Quran. Where you stand from the Quran, you're going to find yourself loving the Quran, loving to hear the Quran, loving to read the Quran. يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في الصدور وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين. الله أكبر. Look at the vivid description to the Holy Quran. Vivid description to the Holy Quran. And it is one verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in Surah Yunus, Ya ayyuhan nas, all mankind. When he says all mankind means what? He's addressing a believer and non-believer. The people who believed and the people who do not believe. As long as Ya ayyuhan nas. قد جاءكم موعظة من ربكم. You have, this is a book of wisdom. وشفاء لما في الصدور. And a healing, and it got in it a healing process. Healing process to what's in your heart. That means what? You believe in it or you don't believe in it. The solution to your problem that it bugs your heart, it is in it. You don't have to believe in it if you don't want to. But if you apply what's in it, you will be healed. See the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Even if you don't believe in it, but apply what's in it, you will be healed. Whatever in your heart will go away. When you hear a verse like, I don't care if you believe or you don't believe. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. Nothing will happen to me but what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained on me. How I can be afraid after that? No point. وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين. وهدى, that means clear guidance. Clear guidance in what format? In a format what to do and what not to do. What to do and what to not do. هدى ورحمة. What does the word rahmah mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has so many names, right? But why it is starting by Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? And when we say Surah Al-Hamd, which is the sum, Surah Al-Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What does the word Rahman mean? Rahman means the one is able, and the only one is able to prevent the existing harm that is happening now. To stop the harm that is happening to you now. And he knows, and prevent it from happening in the future. Not only that, but he knows what's good for you and give it to you before you ask for it. Imagine for a second if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will wait and hold the air till we ask for it. What will happen to us? So Rahman is the one who knows your need, not only preventing the harm, but he knows your need, give it to you before you ask for it. وبالمؤمنين وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين. The third sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a hardship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Muhammad, وَلْنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ وَنَبْلُو أَخْبَارَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in Surah Muhammad, don't think that belief is a privilege. Belief is nothing more than a course, a trial. The purpose of that course is to do what? Is to qualify you, to train you, to make you grow up. The iman, the belief, that's the job of the belief, is to make you grow up. Grow up by a hard, there's gonna be a lot of examination, it's gonna be a lot of temptation, it's gonna be a lot of trial, some of them with the good tidings, some of them with the hardship. But why? You are qualifying me to do what? What that extensive training for what? وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, you will never be able to do amal salih without good iman. So the ingredient for the amal salih that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept and reward for is what? The good iman. Start with the good iman. And for those, I want to share with you hadith for how the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the hardship. Look at your life and look what's in it and see what are kind of hardship that you got. Probably whatever you have and as a hardship, it makes you what? It makes you upset, makes you sad. Take a minute. Just take 1 minute and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mercy in it. I like a dua, that supplication, that it was done by one scholar. And I hope that we all will learn it and we will use it. سبحان من عطاء رحمة ومنع رحمة وكتب على نفسه الرحمة وعامل خلقه بالرحمة وهو الرحمن الرحيم. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His giving is a mercy and taking is a mercy. And he decided to treat everybody with mercy because he is the most gracious, most merciful. Keep that in mind. You will immediately, you will go and go to a different category. وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ لَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. Because they have a confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they never have fear and they never have sadness. No fear and no sadness in their heart. Also, one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acceptance is what? تعجيل العقوبة. The hardship in your life, don't take it as bad, but it is cleansing and a growing process. We all do mistakes, even if you know or you don't, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know. Allah is the one who evaluates. And I'd like to share with you this. There is a hadith on Farag ibn Azib. It is the only hadith in that subject. And it is well-known hadith. And it is one of the biggest hadiths. That it is the description of how the process of death it takes place. The hadith is so long. Actually, it needs a whole entire khutbah. But I want to get with you to the last part of the hadith. The hadith, it says, after all the angels, they will do their jobs, and it is a time to pull the soul. The soul, it comes from the toes, till the knees, till the belly, to the here, to this point, now to here, and it is a time to go. From the head. That's the time where Azrael will intervene. The angel of death, they are doing this process. But now it is a time for Azrael to pick it up. The first thing Azrael will say, he's going to say, هل له من لقمة? If this person still have one single provision of food in the face of the planet Earth, angel will go real quick and come back and say, no, he ate everything. He's going to ask you the second question, هل له من شربة? The angel will go right quick and come back and say, finished. Sometimes you see a people of coma while they are dying and they wake up and say, I want to eat. I want to eat or I want to drink. Or yes, he still have something else he did not. He got a little bit released because of what? Because there's still a provision for him. And he need to finish that provision. The people that they worry about rizq, that's another story. You are wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy. Allah provide for the enemy, for the kafir. Don't you think He will provide for you? The last thing is to worry about is the provision. It comes after that, هل له من نسمة? If that person still have any provision of air for him to breathe, they will go and come back and ask. Sometimes you see some dying people gasp. That means still what? Still have provisions and they are pulling it. And sometimes the people goes very easy. That means what? He doesn't have it. There is nothing for him to catch up with. That's it. Here it comes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order. So that person now is ready to go in the hand of Azrael. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, if that person is good, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like him, but has some deficiency, have some problems, and he did not seek forgiveness for, and he did not make it for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just and fair. He's going to say to Azrael, make it harder on him, the pulling process, to the point the hardship gonna equivalent to what the punishment he deserves, and make it harder for him to pull it. And wali'azu billah, the non-believer or the bad one, he will go through the same process, eventually the same process till he get to this point. And when the command, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for permission to pull out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gonna give the permission. That's the bad guy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gonna say, make it easy. Make it easy for him. Equivalent to any kind of a good deed that he did. If you wanted the dunya, Allah will give it to you. وَلَيْسَ لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِن نَصِيبٍ. But don't ask and don't worry about the hereafter because you did not work for it. And you did not ask for it either. So he will come وَلَيَعْزُ بِاللَّهِ by all the sin and all the mistake. Everything good, you paid for it. You already got paid for it. So this is ta'jeel al-uqubah. It is one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acceptance to the abd, to the servant of it. Another, التوفيق في العبادة. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in Surah Al-Mu'minun, أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات وهم لها سابقون. اللهم اجعلنا منهم. أولئك يسارعون في الخيرات وهم لها سابقون. They are the one who do what? They go fast. They are not waiting to be promoted to do the good deed. They are the one who are looking for the good deed. And here is a major principle. Never wait for the good deed to come and knock on your door. Never. Go and find it. Learn the skills to find it. Learn the skill to hunt it, to keep it, to cherish it. You need the skills to do that. You need the skills for those smiling people to find out who is in pain, who is in need, who is in need help. You need to learn how to do that. يحسبهم الجاهل من التعفف أغنياء, because they do not. There are some people in severe conditions, but they never complain. They never ask. And you think they are rich, but they are not. You have to learn how to sense those and to go after that. And if you don't know any qualification for a good deed, or people deserve a good deed, make one. Not only learn the skill to find out, but even if with the skill, if you don't see any, go and make one. Go and make a good deed. Your life is one shot. The minute that you lose, you'll never come back again. And not only when I say the minute that it goes, I'm not very articulate in this, because there is a lot of qualification to it. Sometimes you can be alive, but you cannot do anything. You are sick. Do what you can when you can now. Now, don't wait. Wallahi, it's going to come a time. Most of the things that you take for granted, you're not going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to walk. You're not going to be able to go to the bathroom by your own. You cannot even be able to sleep for days and days. A lot of things that you take for granted, you take it for granted. I hope that it will not go away, but at the same time, don't take it for granted. And use what you have now, and to the max. If Allah gives you another opportunity, Alhamdulillah. If not, Alhamdulillah. But don't waste what you got. Another thing, حسن الخاتمة. اللهم اجعلنا منهم. The clean finishing. There is a small ayah in the Holy Quran. If we just take it as a constitution, not take it as a principle, as a constitution, constitute all our life from A to Z. And this ayah is very small. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان? Do you expect for the good doing anything other than a good reaction from Allah? If you do a good deed, you should not expect anything from Allah other than what? A good deed. If you honor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by obeying Him in this life, Allah will honor you while you are getting out. And He's gonna honor you in your grave. And gonna honor you in the Ba'ath, in the Day of Judgment. And He's gonna honor you when you will meet Him, inshaAllah. And the rest out of His mercy. It is out to His mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in Surah Al-Nahl, الذين تتوفاهم الملائكة طيبين اللهم اجعلنا من النار يقولون سلام عليكم ادخلوا الجنة بما كنتم تعملون. The most horrified, the most fearful minute or second in your life is the moment of death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending the, and I don't need to explain more, you're going to be on your own. This is the minute of your own. You are on your own. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send a special agent, angels, just to secure you, to calm you down, to make you feel good. يقولون سلام عليكم, peace be upon you. ادخلوا الجنة. Inshallah you will be in the Jannah. بما كنتم تعملون, as a consequence to your belief and to your deed. Okay, let me tell you something. There is one fiqh, one kind of a fiqh in the whole entire Sharia. It's called fiqh al-maut wa ma ba'du. The death fiqh, all the rules and regulations related to the death and what's after, what happened after it. Fiqh. Believe me, that's something that you cannot take lightly. So just to tell you how serious it is. The first time I was exposed to that fiqh, it was 17 years old. I was 17 years old. And to this second I didn't finish. Not because it is big, no. It is probably the smallest, but because what's in it. Every time I try to, just as a knowledge, seeking knowledge, I never finish the page and I close. And I say, Allah, Ya Allah, your mercy is enough. تحسبونه هين وهو عند الله عظيم. You think it is a game or it is light, but it is not. But I'm going to sum it to you to just to give you some idea. The hardest thing that you can meet in your life, in this life, is the moment of death. This is the hardest. There is nothing more hard. You get injured, you get this, you get that. No, this is the hardest. And the easiest thing in after is the moment of death. So in the way out, that's the hardest. Depends on you. Whatever you passed, that's going to be the easiest point. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what's in the grave and what's after it? Can you imagine the process of resurrection? Will it be resurrection to who? Some people are going to say to the people, to the mankind. No, don't look at it this way, please. Look at it to you. Where are you going to be? How many of us willing to go and sit down in extremely crowded stadium? Crowd. In sunny day and no shade. How many willing to do that? And the temperature by thousands, by 100. In that day, temperature, the only one who knows about it is Allah. The sun is a reaching distance. If you raise your hand, that's the sun. And the crowd, all the mankind. But at the same time, and I want to finish the khutbah by it, don't get discouraged. Because if you honor Allah, keep that as a principle. If you honor Allah and His Messenger in this life, Allah will honor you whatever after. There are people, and I hope inshallah we will be among them. The whole entire process of resurrection, which is going to take, no one know how long it's going to be. So long. The first stage, only the first stage is 40 years. The whole entire process from A to Z to a certain people going to be the equivalent time that you take to make 2 rak'ah. That's available, and that's available. Where are you going? What is your choice? And what you're going to do with it? Let us seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgiveness and guidance and mercy. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وأشهد أنه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه الله اليقين I hope, brother, that Husn al-Khatimah, inshallah, going to be for all of us. But there is a principle that I'd like to share with you. And I hope that you will consider it. And I hope that you will take it serious. Because simply it is serious. You took it serious or you don't, it wouldn't make any difference. If you do not know how to die, you do not know how to live. If you do not know how to die, you do not know how to live. If everything that you do right now, and you say, is not gearing to prepare you for the moment of death, for how to set your grave up. Part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mercy, He allows us to make our own graves. And I don't mean buying a lot on the earth. Make the grave. If you are not doing that, if you are not making yourself, preparing yourself for resurrection, if you are not gearing to be among the category, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell him, برحمتي ادخلوا جنتي اللهم اجعلنا منهم يا رب العالمين. Remember Sayyidina Muhammad warning us heavily against this. He said, إذا سئلتم عذبتم. If Allah will ask you, you are in deep trouble. You will be punished. There are ways out. There are a lot of ways out. I don't want to make the khutbah longer, but I'm going to tell you something, one, and I finish with it, inshallah. Brother and sister, we do not have the luxury of doing mistakes. We don't have it. You don't have to be a scholar to avoid it. Listen to your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a complete system of defense in your heart. Listen to Him. And have that principle in your life. Anything you have a doubt about, don't do it. Don't fuss and try to... Anything you justify, you try to give explanation what you are doing, that means you yourself is not convinced that what you're doing is halal. No one give excuses for doing halal. No one giving excuses for doing halal. I want to finish by giving you one single example, inshallah, and I'll finish the khutbah. I don't care if you are a Muslim or not Muslim, learned or not learned, that's the way it is. If somebody having an affair, waliyazu billah, and somebody coming knocking on the door, he's going to be jumping from the window. He hide it. Or she hide it. But if you are married in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the door open, the door knocks, what you happen? You go and find. You find the father, you find the brother of your wife or whatever. You take him, you hug him, and you take him and you want him to get in. And if they want to leave, no, you're going to have to have a dinner with us, or you're going to have to spend the night with us. We haven't seen you for... It is the same thing. Why the first one you are jumping out and you're trying to hide? And every other day we hear that same thing in the political life. Somebody having an affair and they are trying to hide it. And on the other side, you are comfortable and you don't have any problem with it. One is haram, forbidden, and your heart know it. And the second one is halal, and your heart is know it also. Remember, if you have to explain it, don't do it. Because no one give explanation for doing halal. If you have a doubt in it, leave it. There is plenty of other things that you can do and you don't have it out in. Let us seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgiveness and guidance inshallah. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا واسرافنا في امرنا وثبت اقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. We ask you, Allah, to bless our gathering and help us to be a better believer. Help us to study the teaching of the Holy Quran and the teaching of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and apply them in our life so we can live in peace and die in peace. And inshallah hereafter we'll be in peace and we'll be among the companions of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in paradise. عباد الله قولوا لا إله إلا الله تفلحون. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. واذكروا الله يذكركم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقيموا الصلاة.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya lis-salah, hayya lil-falah, come to salat, come to salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.